Supernatural Stories Curse of Barang Part 2. After hearing what the faith healer had said, we are all sad and devastated, especially Aunt Flora. I know that in her mind, if she dies, what will happen to baby Lovely? And she is still too young at the age of 29. Aunt Linda permits Aunt Flora to have psychic surgery. They turned off the lights again. The faith healer started strumming his guitar, babbling some words, then he stopped. Touching Aunt Flora's head, then he got something on the head. It's a shell in the sea. He put it in a clean basin with water. Then he touched Aunt Flora's heart on the stomach, near the kidney, and some dangerous part of the body where the vital internal organs are located. Guess what he got? Some small nails. A rusty nail. I was amazed and shocked. Where did the great healer get those rusty nails? But his hands are just on Aunt Flora's body only. It's unbelievable, but I saw it with my own eyes. Then later, there is this kind of binding amulet. The thread of the amulet will be measured on your waist. If the knot breaks, it means your life is going to end soon. Aunt Linda was the first one to try it first. It didn't break. When it was Aunt Flora's turn, I felt nervous. Sadie said it broke. But Aunt Flora did not show any weakness at all. She is just angry with the two ladies that she considered a friend who betrayed her and wanted her dead. The faith healer told us frankly that this magbabarang who puts a curse on Aunt Flora is a very powerful one. He admitted it but said that he would not surrender and would try his very best. That was a very exhausting night. After we eat dinner, we sleep in a big room, as in the big one. And come to think of it, the windows are open and the curtains are swaying. I'm too lazy to move and very much afraid to close the windows. We returned to Cebu and Aunt Flora just continued her work selling fish. It looks like she is right at the moment. But one night her hands were very itchy. And it's trembling uncontrollably. Oh, what is this again? She just put some lana into it, but it's still trembling. Then, after a few hours, their small fragments of burnt appeared on her hands. Small circle to be exact, but burnt. Some of our neighbors said she prayed to San Antonio to be punished. San Antonio is well known here in Cebu as the punisher of the thief. If you steal and someone prayed for you to be punished by San Antonio, you will feel the punishment and it will usually occur in your hands like a small burn. If this is true, that remains a mystery. Aunt Flora didn't mind it at all. She just continued doing her everyday work as long as she could. But one day, Aunt Flora was feeling delirious and had a fever. They brought her to the nearest hospital and was advised to drink the prescribed medicines as her fever was very high. The fever subsides, but sometimes Aunt Flora is bubbling something that only she can understand, as if she had her world and didn't mind all the people around her. So Aunt Linda and my uncle decided to go back to Bohol and see the faith healer. It was our final examination test in my fourth year of high school. I was not able to go with them, but they managed to find a companion to be their guide, Aunt Pinpin. When they went back, Aunt Flora had become insane. She can't recognize any one of us and keeps bubbling something I don't understand. I felt worried and sad looking at the situation. Why it had come into this? Aunt Pimpin said while they were in Bohol, Aunt Flora kept on vomiting until she vomited a black worm. We called in here tilas, and it's the most itchy kind one. So they decided to bring Aunt Flora to the hospital and she was admitted. Too far away from here, it's in Vicente Soto Hospital in Cebu. But as the only young and active in the family, I was in charge of the hospital if I had no classes. The ones on Aunt Flora's head became worse, to the point of cutting her hair short. She was able to recognize us again, but sometimes she won't at all and will become wild. It's not easy to handle her. My uncle just needs a lot of patience. Aunt Flora is in the Ward 9 room, where the worst of the worst was there. Every day a patient will die, then another patient again. It's hard for me to eat witnessing all of this every day. But I need to help as I'm the errand girl in buying outside medicines and food and some other stuff. Every day I witnessed Aunt Flora's face was keeps on changing, not for the better, but for the worse, until all of her body had become swollen, big swollen as in. Some of the nurses told us to cut the arm as they couldn't find the veins for the dextrose. But my uncle was very angry about that. How could they cut the skin? There is no exact conclusion on her disease. The doctor just said it became complicated and have meningitis, but it didn't show any symptoms of meningitis at all. Until one day she can't eat. It's hard for her to swallow the food. So the doctor let her eat on her nose. I don't know what method is this, but as what I saw, there's a tube from her nose down to her neck. It is the only way she can eat. We will pour the liquid like porridge, but it's not a porridge at all. It's all rice but became liquid. In this way, she managed to eat and survive. One day, it was my uncle and my cousin Roy who was left to take care of Aunt Flora. They are sitting side by side when Aunt Flora shouts, "Water! Water! Ah, it's too hot!" This is what Aunt Flora had said, as if she ate thousands of spicy chili, showing her tongue and telling my uncle that it hurts and it's hot. They asked the doctor what happened, but they only get a blood sample to do some examination. Aunt Flora keeps on moving and saying it's very hot. My uncle and my cousin Roy are holding her arms side by side. And because of that, they are very hungry. They can't eat as Aunt Flora will not stop moving. Until Aunt Linda arrived. That was the time they could relax and eat outside. Aunt Linda requested some kind of pain reliever for Aunt Flora's pain. Aunt Flora was injected with a pain reliever, then finally she was able to sleep and rest for a while. Aunt Linda was sleeping at the side while I was busy reading pocket books to ease my boredom. Then suddenly someone is calling me in a hoarse voice. Very slow voice that until now it's still fresh in my memory. King, water, give me water. Aunt Flora in her slow, hoarse voice. I said okay and reached out the mineral bottle, transferring it into the glass. I was about to give her a glass of water when I looked at her face. The glass almost slipped into my hands. Good thing that I managed to hold it tight. Her face was all black, as if it was burned with fire. And the only white left is her eyes, but down on her arm and feet it's not burned, only her face. What was that? Is it a course of Barang? For real? To be continued. And thank you for reading and listening. Please stay tuned for the next chapter. And if you want to listen more, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.